The Roman Coliseum is probably the most impressive building that has survived from the Roman Empire. It is originally known as a Flavian amphitheater. It hosted gladiator combats, spectacles with wild animals, and the execution of early Christians. Throughout the Middle Ages, the Colosseum was believed to be a place of death and therefore was considered as a sacred place, especially to Christians. The Colosseum is an iconic symbol of the Roman culture. Considering the numerous aspects that make the Roman Coliseum an extraordinary monument, probably there are two significant aspects that make it stand out as a dark tourism site. One of the factors is definitely its amazing architecture and engineering involved in the construction of this monument. The construction started in the year 72, and it almost took a decade. Using stone, concrete, and marble, this monument was designed to seat almost 50,000 spectators, as much as any modern stadium today. Although earthquakes and thieves have seriously damaged it, the Colosseum continues to be an architectural wonder that still stands in the city of Rome today. Another hugely significant aspect of the Colosseum is its original use. It was a location for the games that are both fascinating and terrifying. The events held in the Colosseum during ancient Roman times include gladiator battles, wild animal combats, and the execution of criminals and Christians. The Coliseum today provides an extraordinary taste of how these events were carried out. To imagine these spectacles being played in front of thousands of people cheering makes it the ultimate dark tourism site. As a dark tourism site, the Roman Coliseum has affected the world today in different ways. Some of the factors that this monument has influenced are economical, social, and the preservation of time. The Roman Coliseum is recognized today as one of the new 7 world wonders because of its unique architecture, due to the dimensions and technology involved in its construction, and especially because of the events performed in the arena. This site represents the Roman Empire at its best. It has become the most popular touristic site not only in Rome but also in Italy. After so many years, the amazing architecture still stands there and it's available for tours. Annually, the Coliseum has 4,440,500 visits. Every day, long lines wait to buy entrance tickets. The profit earned from the visits is used to maintain the monument. Due to the fact that this is one of the new 7 world wonders, it attracts many tourists to Italy, especially to Rome. This helps the country economically because if tourism rises, the amount of taxes paid is greater, therefore the government is benefited. The Roman Coliseum, because of what it represents, stands as a testimony of great Roman culture that once dominated the world in almost every aspect. Even to this day, many societies in the Occidental world have inherited some parts of the Roman culture. The Roman Coliseum is probably most famous for the purpose for which it was used at some time, the exposure of crude violence as a form of entertainment. The battles among the famous gladiators were carried out till death. The last man standing won the competition. The gladiators, often slaves, prisoners, or war soldiers, were forced to fight amongst each other and against beasts. The historical site also became a holy place for Roman Catholic Church, because during the development of the Christian religion, believers were arrested and thrown into the arena to be beaten and killed by beasts and gladiators. The Colosseum impacted the religion in that time. It has still impacted the religion now. Due to all the rituals performed, many people consider the Colosseum now as a sacred place. These events were very popular at that time, and Romans filled the Colosseum to cheer and ask the Caesar, also known as the supreme Roman authority, to spare the life or order the death of the participants. The Colosseum was designed so that regular people, peasants, nobility, and royalty could share the event seated in different places according to their status. The social class division influenced the society then, and it continues to shape the society now. Some of the ideas of social classes and status ranks came from the Romans and now have been implemented around the world. Today, society condemns violence in general, and in many countries, events that contain some type of violence have also been banned. For example, in the US today, it's illegal all types of shows or events that cause or may cause harm to animals. There is also a social movement to ban sports such as boxing or fighting, which in some way is a reminiscence of the Roman practices. In many countries in Europe and Latin America, bullfights have also been banned. This dark tourism site is a standing testimony that has lasted through time and history. The monument was built thousands of years ago, and even though many earthquakes have passed by, world wars, invasions, and other catastrophes, it has survived and is still here. Having this glorious monument allows the world not only to have a safe piece of the Romans' brilliant architecture, but it also allows them to learn their architecture and preserve the building techniques so they are not lost forever. This monument today is in danger of collapsing. Once it's gone, we will not be able to study the activities and rituals performed, and if we have no monument, we will not be able to understand how these performances worked either. Scientists that have been monitoring the soil and structure of the Coliseum have determined that the structure is leaning, so that if proper restoration is not done, there is a risk of collapse of some of the structures. Historians and archaeologists are continuing to make discoveries that help piece together the history of civilization. By the structure and the components of the Colosseum, they are able to understand more about the games and the gladiator fights. Through studying the Colosseum and understanding the games, historians are able to learn about the culture, people, behavior, activities, political and governmental activities, and their religious beliefs. Even though at the present time violence is condemned and even illegal in some forms, I support the idea that the Roman Colosseum should be considered as an acceptable site. This statement may seem contradictory, but we have to consider that this monument reflects the way a civilization lived within their ethical and moral standards, even though we may not agree today. At that time, the Roman Colosseum was at its splendor. The stated people approved the spectacles held there, and the world in general shared the same values and attitudes towards the use of violence. Eventually, the use of violence and corruption led the Roman Empire into decadence and disappeared. Today, this dark tourism site stands as an example of an era and also as a reminder of our own roots and origins.